So Silvana and I started working with families in around 2015. We knew that peer-led and peer-supported programs had significant potential to enhance the sense of agency, control, and well-being of parents, carers, and families, and that participants were achieving important goals for their child and for the family. But our focus was on the doing with the families, and we needed research energy to demonstrate to community what impact it could have. So I met with a number of colleagues with common interests. We all wanted to change status quo for parents raising children with disability or developmental delays, but we wanted our work to be rooted in the science of well-being. So we embrace system-informed positive psychology, or SIP. We feel that empowered and inspired parents could change the system from the ground up, whilst we carry out research to be presented to decision makers in policy and funding. Peggy and I collaborated on the submission for seed funding from the Melbourne Disability Institute to review the work done in our first 3-4 years of operation. Quick plug in, we're very grateful for the Melbourne Disability Institute for this initial funding. We decided to carry out our first face-to-face meeting in Melbourne, so some of us flew from New Zealand, from Sydney, and others Zoom from Vancouver and Sydney. Anu invited me the first night before meeting for the best palak paneer I've ever had. Thank you. This initial meeting inspired us all to continue thinking and working together. It's so powerful to know and trust each other on so many levels because we're better equipped to plan future projects together, understand what we're doing in the present context, respond to future funding opportunities, and integrate potential new collaboration.
As an occupational therapist working with children and families, I have had the fortune to work with diverse populations across countries, ranging from diverse socio-economic, diverse cultural backgrounds, diverse beliefs and faiths. And I wondered for years what kept parents and caregivers going when they had a child with disability. Principles of positive psychology and the model of family quality of life help me understand that all families are faced with happy moments and challenging times, and every challenge, the smooth flow of their rotating gearbox gets interrupted. So I really look at this gearbox model to help me understand. This was a model developed by Zuna and Turnbull and colleagues. So it kind of reminds me that the gears are always moving, but when there are challenging times, it actually interrupts the smooth flow. And life doesn't stop, it just gets slow. So what helps to put these wheels back in motion are a number of factors that are known as moderators or mediators. For example, things like supportive families. What are the families' beliefs and values? What are their hopes in the inherent qualities of each family member? What do they bring to the family? And external factors like services and supports. These all things actually help for the gearbox to keep moving smoothly. This was my entire PhD, where I was figuring out the challenges and the facilitators to a well-balanced and smooth running of the gearbox of life. And I realized that, yes, families go through stress, grief, loss, and sadness, but they also possess strengths, hopes, supports, and resources that help them with their family quality of life. With the right supports and services, the smooth running of the cogs is facilitated, and families learn new strengths and keep their quality of life wheels running smoothly. So, of course, we need to be able to provide these supportive services. As a member of the Early Childhood Intervention Australia Committee, Victoria and National, I was a member for 9 years. So I know Tim Moore quite well. And then I met Silvana, and then I met Anik. And I knew at once that we shared a common vision for families of children with disabilities. All these wonderful colleagues were already working in this space, and their program, especially the Now and Next, was embedded in positive psychology principles, harnessing strengths. So, of course, I was going to be stoked to join this wonderful group or this wonderful community of practice. We were introduced to Peggy Kern, who was deeply rooted in systems-informed positive psych and brought her wealth of knowledge and expertise. And then we had Rachel, and then Moggy and Catherine and Janine, and on we went. This is a marvelous group where we meet each fortnight. We plan, we celebrate, but we also share our frustrations. We divert, but we strive to maintain a strong focus. Our common agenda is embedded in principles of positive psychology, strengths-based policies, respectful communications, and evidence-based practice, with a common goal to improve well-being of
childhood
humans,
and adult life. And as a
families,
professional, I've working in this field for almost 30 years now. I've seen a lot of changes, both good and not so good. As a student, trying to explore through action research how better to push the boundaries of family-centered practice within an organisation that works with professionals and to support families of children with disabilities and those children. A community of practice meant to me joining with colleagues with diverse areas of expertise, but also common areas of interest, to be able to support one another, to extend our work, to expand what we're doing together, to make it better, to harness our resources together to advance the common agendas that we have around strengths-based approaches, professionals and families of children with disabilities. I obviously know many of the people in the group, and we connected through this common areas of interest. Peggy was very new to me, introduced by my colleague Anik when she discovered an amazing paper that Penny had written on collective capacity. And that really resonated with Anik and myself, because we believe that family leadership can be activated and families can support families as a collective to shift systems, to shift paradigms, to shift focuses of families and the system from a deficits-focused to a strengths-based focus. So the community of practice for me means some distance and some new eyes on our measurements, and making sure that we're rigorous in how we're looking at the effects and the impacts of our work, and just making our work very outcomes focused and ensuring that we are making a difference and we know how that difference is being made.
Hi, thanks. My name's Catherine, and I feel so grateful to being part of this research group. I had commenced my Masters of Research degree, and my supervisor, Anu, introduced me to the group. I was able to align my research projects with the work being done by the group. For the last few years, I've been able to be part of regular meetings, and I've been able to present my work and listen to and be part of the discussions. The conversations have helped to deepen and broaden my work. Listening to the processes and the conversations of discussing of the ideas to literally see the process of collaboration at this level has really been amazing and inspiring. In our group, we have a range of voices, parents, executives, academics, therapists, students. And it's taken years for me to get here, but I'm happy to say that I recently had the systematic review of the effectiveness of peer support programs for parents and caregivers published by the journal Child. I'm also currently working on the submission of my manuscript that explores the longer term outcomes of a peer support program that is a now&next program for parents and caregivers. My thesis includes a systematic review and also explores the project, exploring the longer term outcomes, and also has a deeper discussion about peer support, including future directions for research. All of the work I've done in this area has been possible because of being part of this community of practice. And I've now been accepted for a scholarship, and I'm soon to commence my next project as a PhD candidate at La Trobe University. Doing research work can at times be isolating, but through this collaboration I was supported and the journey felt much easier, and it's developed into lasting working partnerships where we can develop work that will continue to be of benefit to parents and their children.
I became a part of this community of practice when I got a phone call from Anik. She was using a measure that I had developed to evaluate the now&next program. When I heard about the work that she was doing, it connected with me at a very deep level. I'm a researcher in the area of positive psychology, which is a science that studies well-being, who thrives in life, the reasons why, and how we can cultivate well-being in people across the lifespan. Within this area, I proposed the need for a systems-informed positive psychology, which particularly emphasizes the complexity of human experiences and the social systems that we are a part of. This perspective becomes particularly relevant when we consider the complexities facing families with children with disability, including the nature of the disability, family dynamics, funding, working with professionals, policies, and more. As part of this community of practice, it has given me the opportunity to take the work that I was doing, which was theoretical in nature, and apply it in practical ways. It has allowed us to marry the research and practice to identify what well-being looks like for those living with disability, their families, and the communities living around them, with practical ways to cultivate thriving. So our community of practice has been a beautiful way to extend what we know from the science of positive psychology to those living with disability to support them to not only survive, but also thrive in life. So this brings us to the end of our presentation on our community of practice. It's been such an amazing community to be a part of. We'd love to share more of this with you. So thank you for taking a few minutes to listen, and we're so grateful for everyone who's been such an important part of this community.